Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Dayton. Thank you for your warm welcome this afternoon. Governor DeWine, Mayor Mims, or excuse me, Mayor Jeffrey um, Mims, Congresswoman Joyce Betty, and community leaders, labor leaders, business owners, and most importantly, the working people of Ohio. Thank you for welcoming me back to the Buckeye State. Let me begin by thanking everyone at the center for hosting us here today. What you built here isn't just a facility, it's a cornerstone of this community. It's where seniors gather, kids grow, and neighbors support each other. That spirit, that sense of connection and care, that's the American spirit that I've been to up, fighting to uplift every day. I've served as your president, and that is truly sincere. Every day that I walk into that Oval Office, there's one thing that I think about is the men and women and children and everybody across this country, and it's my job to do the very best of my ability to make sure that everyone in this country is taken care of and it's given the best shot at success. Folks, we're now in year four, and it's hard to believe. Year four of this administration. And I'm proud of the progress we've made together. But I also know there's more work to do. And I came here today to talk about that work, to talk about how we build things again in this country, how we grow jobs that people can be proud of, how we rebuild not just our roads and bridges, but the middle class itself. And one of the things I want to touch on real briefly before I do begin the rest of my remarks is this. Friday, the monthly jobs report came out from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. That bureau is a nonpartisan government agency. Their job is to track data. They give me the good data, they give me the bad data, and they give me the not so pleasant, the ugly data. But they give me the data. And it's my job to report to you every month on where we are in our economy. I've come to the podium several times and gave some very encouraging reports how our unemployment is, how the job creation is. And I've come to the podium and given not so encouraging reports. But never once have I doubted the commissioner of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Never once, never once have I thought of terminating the commissioner of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And under my administration, no one, no one will be terminated for doing their job. When I took the oath of office, I said we'd rebuild this country from the bottom up and the middle out, not from Wall Street down, but from Main Street out. Places like Dayton, places where people take pride in a job well done, places where you don't ask for handouts, just a fair shot. Back in 2021, the nation was still emerging from a pandemic. We were dealing with supply chain breakdowns, outdated infrastructure, and far too many Americans feeling left behind. That's why we passed the American Infrastructure Renewal Act, a once in a generation investment that's now rebuilding over 75,000 miles of highway, repairing 15,000 bridges, expanding clean drinking water to millions of homes, and bringing high speed internet to rural, urban, and tribal communities alike. And in this very state, here in the Buckeye State of Ohio, we've seen that investment come to life. You've got new construction underway on the I-75 corridor, water treatment upgrades in Lima and Youngstown, broadband expansion projects helping connect students and small businesses across the state. And those projects mean jobs, good paying union jobs, jobs that don't require a college degree, but still come with pride, purpose, and a paycheck that supports a family. Now, let me expand on that just a little bit, if you do not mind. And I'm talking about good paying labor jobs. I'm talking about jobs that you can get without a degree, that you're able to be successful. And that hits close to home. For me, that hits close to home. My brother in law, actually, great guy. He actually started out trying college, and he found out that college was not for him. He followed his dad's footsteps, became a journeyman electrician, and is now doing quite well as a job foreman for a major electrical contractor in Texas and doing quite well. He found out that college didn't work for him, but a good blue collar job worked for him, and a blue collar job that paid him decent wages. That's what I'm for, folks. That's what I'm for. Earlier today, I met a worker named Lisa. She's a third generation member of the IBEW Local 82. She told me her dad was an electrician, her grandfather too. For a while, she worried the opportunities they had might not be there for her kids. And that is a constant worry in that profession. If you don't have infrastructure jobs, building jobs, you don't have work. But today, she's helping wire a new solar manufacturing facility outside of Toledo. She said to me earlier today, Mr. President, I finally feel like my kids might have a brighter future than I did. And that's really our job as parents, is to ensure that our children have the same opportunities we have, ensure that they have that, but also better opportunities. That's what this is all about. And that's why we're doing this. And it's not just traditional infrastructure we've passed. We passed the American Jobs and Innovation Act, which is bringing back semiconductor production, battery plants, and turbine assembly lines, all made right here in the United States. We're rebuilding American manufacturing, piece by piece, job by job. For decades, we've heard the same story: factories closing, towns howling out, dreams deferred. But I said from day one, those jobs aren't gone. They were pushed out, and we are bringing them back to this country. We're bringing them back to this country. And don't let anyone tell you that I don't understand about outsourcing of jobs. One of my very first jobs was outsourced out of this country to another country. It was brought back a couple of years later, but I was a victim of outsourcing. And my administration, our goal is to ensure that everyone in this country, everyone that wants a job, gets a job. That's our goal. That's our goal. We made sure every federal project uses American made steel and materials. We put apprenticeship programs into every federal contract, and we ensured that every dollar we spend is an investment in our people, not a giveaway to corporations. And let's be clear, this isn't just about numbers. It's about dignity. It's about the dignity of being able to put food on the table, to pay your bills, to retire with some peace of mind. It's about making sure the zip code you were born in doesn't determine your entire future. That's not fair. That's why we've also expanded the child tax credits, raised wages for federal workers, and fought to make healthcare more affordable, because we're not just building roads, we're also building lives. I'll tell you something else. We've done all this while cutting the deficit and growing the economy faster than any other major economy in the world. You go to the G7 Economic Summit every summer, and the other nations are asking, how are you doing what you're doing in this country? They're asking that. Every world leader has asked, Mr. President, how are you doing these things in this country? And I tell them what I'm telling you here today. You know, we've shown that we can invest in people and still be fiscally responsible. But my friends, we're not done yet. We just laid the foundation. Now we've got to finish the job. There are still roads to be repaired, still families waiting on clean water, still communities on the wrong side of the digital divide, and there are still politicians who want to pull the plug on this progress, who want to go back to the same old trickle-down policies that never reached towns like this, who want to cut infrastructure funding, gut job training, and hand tax breaks to the wealthy. Well, let me be clear here today in Dayton, folks. Under my administration, that will never happen. If anything, I'm proposing a tax plan that doesn't give the upper class just flat across tax breaks. Here's the deal. The tax plan I'm calling for calls for the upper class to give back to their community. Let's say, for example, that you're an architect and you are in the upper income. I'm not penalizing you for being in the upper income, but what I'm asking you to do is to give back to the community that made you successful. You know, there's an old saying, much is given, much is required. And that is what this is all about, folks. Think about the up and coming business in a small town, like you've all heard about my hometown of DeSoto, that can't afford the design work of $1 million restaurant, that can't afford the PR work of $1 million ad agency or PR firm. But if those two individuals, those two companies were to give back, donate their services to their community, you would be surprised at what a difference that would make in an up and coming business. And you would see the success. And I think it would personally make you feel good that I contributed the skills the city gave me. I contributed to the success of another individual. You know, and quite frankly, folks, that's just one example. You know, we can't go back. And as long as I'm president, we won't go back. As long as I'm president, I will fight to make sure every American, no matter where you live or what you look like, has the tools to succeed. I'll fight for your job, your family, and your future. Because here's the truth. America is strongest when we build together, when we invest in each other, when we remember that we are the United States, not the divided states. So let's keep moving forward. Let's keep laying the tracks, pouring the concrete, training the workers, raising the wages, and rebuilding the middle class from the ground up. Let's build an economy that works for everyone, because we've seen that happen. We've seen what happens when we do. When we do. And I'm going to borrow a quote from a former president. And I've said this many times, and I believe in this. And he is right. There's nothing beyond our capacity in this country that we can't accomplish, if we do it together. May God bless you. May God bless our troops. And may God bless the United States of America. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Dayton. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.